Hey, what's going on YouTube? Now this video is directed towards all men, not just black men. I just had to, put that out there before I get started. One of the earlier claims of feminism was that marriage was pretty much an institution of enslavement for women. Women didn't have control, they didn't have personal choice. They had to wait on hands and knees in terms of serving the man. And I don't know, it was just a sense of them being chained up. That's how, they pretty much described it, them being shackled down. But I look at what's going on today. It looks like marriage is on its deathbed. The divorce rate is at an all-time high, yet you really don't see any sort of feminists capitalizing off of the fact. You don't see it happening. If you really think about it, they should be skipping down the street, right, with great laughter and great happiness, because this so-called institution of slavery and this institution that prevents women from being equal to men is on its deathbed, and they should be doing everything that they can to influence women and society to do away with it. But they're not. Why is it that men are talking about it? If we are the ones who benefited so much from marriage, why are we the ones who have a problem? Why are we the ones that are even talking about this? Right? What men have to understand is this isn't a movement of crazy fanatics, men who've been hurt and feel like they want to, punish women. This is common sense. This is equality, right? Women want equality, fine. But the only reason why marriage is still around is because women want to use marriage as a source of equality. So they want to use the collection in a marriage. You have the union of, pretty much, two different estates coming together, right? And they want to use that pool not for a family community type of well-being, but for their own equality, right? It's how they stand on their 2 feet. One of my older friends told me that a woman's best shot at becoming a millionaire is for her to marry a millionaire. And he told me that's how they think. They have every opportunity and ability to go out there and, try your best to be a millionaire, just like, how men try, and you go through all the failures and all the no's and, all the blood, sweat, and tears to eventually, find that $1 million dream. But they choose not to, and they would prefer to marry a millionaire. So you have to understand, we live in a world where it is equal. Men and women can have the same dreams, right? But the only reason why marriage is still around is because it's a tool by women to reach their dreams, right? It's not enough for them to have the opportunity to get it on their own. That it requires work. It requires sacrifice. It requires blood, sweat, and tears. It requires for them to go through a period where they're down and out and they're not appealing to the rest of the world. You know how it is as a man when you're on your grind. When you're truly on your grind, you don't care what anybody has to say about you. Right? Your edge up's not there, your beard's kind of rough, your clothes may not be ironed, your ones may not be as white as they need to be. So that's what we're willing to do, but women aren't necessarily willing to do that. So we have marriage, and it's still around because of that. Of course, you have your sporadic men and women out there who are truly, traditional and are still with the times and with that program, but for the wide majority, it's not there. That's why we have divorce at an all-time high. If it's not working, let me get out of it and let me go find somebody else so I can use to gain my equality. That's all it comes down to. Right? There's no reason why feminists shouldn't be destroying marriage right now. There's no reason why we as men shouldn't be working with other groups of feminists right now to destroy marriage, to take it apart, and educate other men and women in terms of what's going on. But the women don't want that. So I'm encouraging men to, wake up and think about what's going on and analyze your own situation. Because we talk about equality, and I feel like marriage is that load-bearing stone that if you move, the rest of the rest of the building will slowly start to crumble. The problem with feminists is that they were never ready to go through the down and out stage to get to where they want to get in terms of equality. They don't want to, but it's what they have to go through. They've already started a chain of events, and now they have to deal with it. But you can't have a 180, and that's what's happening. All of a sudden, it's men who don't want marriage, but we weren't the ones who were calling it an institution of slavery in the past. And men really have to wake up and understand this, because all of this stuff is happening on a subconscious level. So people are acting and making moves that follow a certain game plan, but they don't even know it. So anyways, you guys tell me how you feel. Share your experiences. Take it easy. God bless.